Have you ever noticed that anxiety never asks for permission? It appears without warning, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes during moments that should feel peaceful, and sometimes even when everything in your life seems perfectly fine. Your heart races, your thoughts begin to spiral, and suddenly you're preparing for disasters that haven't even happened. But what if you've been asking the wrong question all along? What if the real question isn't, how do I get rid of anxiety? What if it's, why did anxiety find me in the first place? Because what you're about to discover may completely transform the way you see fear, your life, and perhaps even the universe itself. So stay with me until the end. Every step of this journey builds toward a truth that many people spend their entire lives searching for, without ever finding. Before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Take a slow, deep breath. Then write one word in the comments. Trust. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. Because by the end of this video, that word may carry a meaning you've never felt before. Welcome to the Zen Wisdom, a place where we don't run away from difficult questions. We explore them. Because sometimes the answers we're searching for aren't hidden from us. They're hidden within us. If this video found you today, perhaps it wasn't an accident. Maybe you've been carrying a weight you can't explain. Maybe you've smiled through conversations while quietly falling apart inside. Maybe you've convinced everyone around you that you're okay, while your mind refuses to rest. You replay old conversations. You overthink every decision. You imagine futures that may never arrive. If that sounds familiar, know this. You are far from alone. Millions of people experience anxiety every day. Most spend years trying to silence it, fight it, or escape it. But very few ever stop to ask an entirely different question. What if anxiety isn't your enemy? What if it's a messenger? Think about it. The universe rarely shouts. It whispers. Through intuition, through unexpected detours, through moments of stillness, and sometimes through discomfort. Not because it wants to punish you, but because discomfort has a remarkable way of capturing our attention. Real transformation rarely begins when life is comfortable. It begins when something wakes us up. A relationship ends, a dream falls apart, a career changes unexpectedly, or anxiety quietly enters our lives and refuses to leave. We often call these moments tragedies. Perhaps they're invitations. Here's where everything begins to shift. Anxiety isn't always created by the number of problems in your life. More often, it's born from trying to control what was never yours to control. How much energy have you spent trying to predict the future? Trying to prevent disappointment before it happens? Trying to make sure everything and everyone stays exactly the way you want? That burden is heavier than most people realize. Eventually, your mind begins treating every possibility as a threat. Your body never fully relaxes. Your nervous system remains on constant alert. And little by little, fear becomes your default setting. But here's the truth. Control and peace cannot live in the same place. The tighter you grip life, the more anxious life becomes. Because life was never designed to be controlled. It was designed to be experienced. Fear constantly whispers, what if everything goes wrong? Wisdom asks a different question. What if life is trying to guide me somewhere I've never imagined? Perhaps anxiety isn't here to ruin your life. Perhaps it's trying to redirect it. Because every messenger has a purpose. And every messenger leaves once its message has finally been understood. If anxiety had one favorite hiding place, it would be the illusion of control. Think about how much of your life is spent trying to predict what's coming next. You replay conversations, searching for hidden meanings. You imagine worst-case scenarios before anything has happened. You build backup plans for situations that may never exist. Your mind tells you that if you think hard enough, plan carefully enough, or worry long enough, you can somehow protect yourself from pain. But here's the truth. You cannot think your way into peace, because peace doesn't come from controlling the future. It comes from making peace with the unknown. Your mind isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to protect you. Thousands of years ago, that meant surviving predators and harsh environments. Today, the same survival system reacts to rejection, failure, uncertainty, or an uncomfortable conversation as if your life depends on it. So your mind scans the future for danger. One fearful thought becomes 10. 10 become 100. Before long, you're no longer living in the present. You're living inside imagined futures, and none of them exist. Here's something both spiritual wisdom and modern psychology quietly agree on. Most suffering isn't created by this moment. It's created by the story we tell ourselves about this moment. Two people can face the same challenge. One sees disaster, the other sees an opportunity to grow. The difference isn't the circumstance. It's the meaning they choose to give it. Now, ask yourself this. What are you truly afraid of losing? A relationship? Financial security? Your reputation? Someone's approval? Notice how your body responds. That reaction reveals something important. Anxiety often lives, not inside the situation itself, but inside our attachment to it. The more tightly we cling to an outcome, the more afraid we become of losing it. Imagine holding a handful of sand. Hold it gently, and it remains in your hand. Squeeze it tightly, and it slips through your fingers. Life follows the same principle. The tighter we try to control people, outcomes, or the future, the more pressure we create inside ourselves. This is where many people misunderstand surrender. Surrender isn't giving up. It isn't becoming passive. It means giving your best effort while releasing your obsession with the result. You still work hard. You still love deeply. You still pursue your dreams. But your peace no longer depends on one specific outcome. That single shift changes everything, because fear survives by convincing you that certainty is necessary. Life keeps reminding you that it never was. Perhaps that's why some of your greatest breakthroughs came from seasons you never would have chosen. The relationship that ended, the opportunity you lost, the unexpected detour that forced you to become someone stronger. At the time, they felt like setbacks. Looking back, many became turning points. Fear has a very short memory. Wisdom remembers every storm you've already survived. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That simple question changes your role. You stop becoming a victim of life and become a student of it. And life has an extraordinary way of teaching those who are willing to learn. Because the moment you stop trying to control everything, you create space for something far more powerful. Trust, not blind faith. Not pretending everything will be easy, but the quiet confidence that says, "Whatever comes next, I'll meet it when it arrives." And that is where real peace begins. Something unexpected happens the moment you stop trying to control everything. Old emotions begin to surface. Memories you thought you'd forgotten. Feelings you've buried for years. At first, it feels like you're getting worse. But what if you're actually beginning to heal? Most people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. We stay busy, we distract ourselves, we fill every quiet moment with noise. Not because we enjoy it, but because silence allows buried emotions to rise. The mind believes avoiding pain is protection. Life teaches something different. What we refuse to face eventually asks to be felt. Imagine trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The longer you force it down, the stronger it pushes back. Our emotions work the same way. Anxiety is often the pressure created by feelings we've never allowed ourselves to process. Perhaps grief, perhaps shame, perhaps years of pretending to be stronger than we really felt. Your body remembers what your mind tries to forget. That's why healing is emotional. Not because something is wrong, but because something trapped is finally being released. Every time you've said, "I'm fine," when you weren't. Every time you hid your pain to protect someone else. Every time you ignored your own heart. You carried a little more weight. Eventually, that weight begins speaking its own language. Restlessness, overthinking, anxiety. Healing begins the moment you stop running, not by fighting your emotions, but by allowing them to move through you. Every emotion has a life cycle. It rises, it stays for a while, then it passes. Resistance is what makes it linger. Acceptance is what allows it to leave. This is why mindfulness is so powerful. It teaches you one life-changing truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness observing them. Imagine sitting beside a river. Thoughts drift by like leaves on the water. Some are hopeful, some are fearful. You don't have to chase every leaf. You simply watch it pass. Fear only becomes powerful when you mistake it for the truth. The same is true of the stories you've believed for years. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'll never change. Nothing ever works out for me. These aren't facts. They're interpretations formed by past pain. And what was learned can also be unlearned. Perhaps you're not falling apart. Perhaps the person you've been pretending to be is finally falling away. Because healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about returning to who you were before fear convinced you to hide. So, if life feels especially raw right now, don't assume you're moving backward. Some of the deepest healing begins in moments that feel the most uncomfortable. Not because pain is the destination, but because it's often the doorway. And on the other side of that doorway is a version of yourself that no longer needs fear to feel safe. One of the greatest tricks anxiety ever plays is convincing you that it's who you are. At first, anxiety is just a feeling. Then, it becomes a habit. Eventually, it becomes an identity. I've always been this way. I'm just an anxious person. And without realizing it, you stop seeing fear as a visitor and begin treating it like your home. But feelings are not identity. They are experiences. Clouds pass through the sky every day, yet no one mistakes the clouds for the sky itself. Your thoughts and emotions are the same. They move through your awareness. They are not your awareness. The problem is, the mind prefers what is familiar, even if it causes suffering. That's why, after one worry disappears, another often takes its place. The habit of worrying becomes more familiar than the feeling of peace. And that's why changing your circumstances doesn't always change your inner world. People believe they'll finally feel safe after achieving success, finding the perfect relationship, or gaining financial security. Yet countless people have all of those things and still feel empty, because external success cannot heal an identity built on fear. Real transformation begins with a different question. Who am I without my fears? Without the labels, the expectations, the endless need to prove myself? Beneath every role you've played, there is a quieter, more authentic version of you. One that existed long before fear told you that your worth had to be earned. The world teaches us to measure ourselves by achievement. Life teaches something deeper. Your value was never something you had to earn. It was something you simply forgot. This is why awareness is more powerful than willpower. Willpower fights fear. Awareness understands it. Imagine comforting a frightened child. You wouldn't shame them for being afraid. You would sit beside them, listen, and help them feel safe. The anxious part of you deserves that same compassion, because fear isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying, however imperfectly, to protect you. The moment you replace self-judgment with understanding, your nervous system receives a new message. Maybe I'm safe after all. Healing doesn't begin when every fearful thought disappears. It begins when you stop believing every fearful thought. You become the observer instead of the prisoner. And slowly, fear loses its authority. Not because life has become easier, but because you've stopped letting fear decide who you are. When that happens, something beautiful emerges. You stop trying to become someone else. You begin remembering the person you were beneath the noise. Not perfect, not fearless, simply present. And that is where freedom quietly begins. Have you ever noticed how the same struggles seem to return? Different people, different places, different situations. Yet somehow, the emotional pattern feels strangely familiar. Another disappointment, another relationship that leaves you questioning yourself. Another season where fear whispers that you're falling behind. At first, it feels like bad luck. But what if it's something else? Life rarely repeats a lesson you've truly learned. It repeats the ones you've only survived, but never understood. That's why the same fears often wear different faces. One relationship ends. Another begins with the same emotional pattern. One problem disappears. A new one quietly takes its place. The circumstances change. The lesson remains. The moment you stop asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" everything changes. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of life. You become a student of it. And students grow. Victims remain stuck. Think back to the hardest season of your life. At the time, it probably felt unfair, maybe even meaningless. But looking back, didn't it shape you in ways comfort never could? The heartbreak that taught you self-respect. The failure that redirected your path. The uncertainty that revealed your inner strength. Sometimes, what feels like a setback is simply life making room for something greater. The universe has never promised a life without storms. It promises something far more valuable, the chance to become stronger because of them. That's why peace isn't found by escaping uncertainty. It's found by learning to remain present within it. Most anxiety pulls us into two places that don't exist: yesterday or tomorrow. We replay old mistakes. We rehearse future disasters. Meanwhile, the present moment quietly slips away. Yet this moment is the only place where life is actually happening. Peace has never lived in yesterday. It has never lived in tomorrow. It has always lived here, right now, You may not control every circumstance, but you always control one thing: how you respond. Imagine two sailors caught in the same storm. Neither controls the wind, neither stops the waves, but one adjusts the sails. The other fights the ocean. The storm is the same. The outcome is not. Life works exactly the same way. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means seeing reality clearly and choosing your next step with wisdom instead of fear. Every season eventually changes. Winter becomes spring. Night becomes morning. Nothing in nature remains the same forever. Why should your anxiety be any different? Perhaps the greatest transformation begins not when life finally becomes easy, but when you stop resisting the lessons it has been trying to teach you all along. Because every challenge carries two gifts: the experience itself and the wisdom waiting beneath it. The choice is whether we notice the second one. After everything we've explored, one truth begins to stand above all the others. Peace isn't something you have to create. It's something you uncover. Imagine a lake on a windy day. The surface is restless. The water is filled with waves. The reflection disappears. But beneath the surface, the lake remains calm. Your mind is no different. Thoughts create waves. Fear creates storms. Anxiety creates turbulence. But beneath all of that, there is a quiet part of you that has never been broken. It has only been hidden beneath the noise. For years, you may have believed that peace would arrive someday, after you achieved more, after you healed completely, after life finally became certain. But certainty was never the destination. Presence was. How much of your life has been spent waiting? Once I get the promotion, once I meet the right person, once everything settles down, then I'll finally be at peace. But the finish line keeps moving. One achievement leads to another. One dream gives birth to the next. The mind is always chasing tomorrow, while life quietly unfolds today. Peace isn't waiting somewhere in the future. It has always existed in this moment, the only moment that's ever been real. Fear constantly asks, what if I can't handle what's coming? Peace answers with something much simpler. Then I'll meet that moment when it arrives. Look at your own life. You've survived heartbreak, disappointment, failure, loss. Moments you once believed would break you. Yet here you are, still standing, still growing, still moving forward. The evidence has always been there. Fear simply refuses to remember it. Trust doesn't mean believing that nothing difficult will ever happen. It means believing that whatever happens, you'll find a way through it. That is real strength. Not controlling every outcome, but knowing you don't have to. Life has never asked you to predict every step ahead. It has only asked you to take the next one. One breath, one decision, one act of courage at a time. That is how every meaningful journey begins. Not with certainty, with willingness. The willingness to keep walking, even when you can't yet see the entire path. Because courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing not to let fear make your decisions. Again and again, until trust becomes stronger than doubt, and then, almost without noticing, something remarkable happens. The situations that once overwhelmed you no longer have the same power. The future remains uncertain, but it no longer feels terrifying. Not because life changed, but because you did. You stopped asking life to remove every storm, and started learning how to walk through them with an open heart. That is the quiet transformation you've been searching for. Not a life without fear, but a heart that no longer belongs to it. If you've stayed with me until this moment, perhaps you've already realized something. This journey was never about learning how to eliminate fear. It was about learning how to understand it. Because the moment fear is understood, it begins to lose its power. What we resist persists. What we understand transforms. For so long, you may have believed that peace depended on changing your circumstances, finding the perfect relationship, achieving success, making more money, receiving more recognition, finally becoming enough. But look around. There are people who have everything the world admires and still lie awake at night. Because no achievement can create the peace you've been searching for. It can only reveal whether that peace already exists within you. The greatest prison was never your anxiety. It was the belief that your happiness depended on controlling life. But life has never asked you to control every wave, only to learn how to navigate them. Think of the ocean. The waves never stop. Some are gentle. Some are powerful. Some arrive without warning. The wise sailor doesn't waste energy trying to calm the sea. He learns to sail through it. Life asks the same of you. There will still be uncertain days. Moments when fear knocks on your door. Moments when your mind imagines the worst. The difference is, you no longer have to invite fear inside and let it decide how you'll live. You can acknowledge it, listen to it, learn from it, and then let it pass, like every storm before it. Because storms were never meant to become your home. They were meant to remind you of your strength. One day, without realizing exactly when it happened, you'll notice something extraordinary. The conversations you once avoided become easier. The uncertainty that once terrified you becomes manageable. The voice that once filled your mind with panic grows quieter. Not because life became easier, but because your heart became steadier. That is real transformation. Not the absence of fear, but the presence of trust. Trust that whatever tomorrow brings, you'll meet it with wisdom instead of worry, with courage instead of control, with presence instead of panic. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: you are not carrying life. Life has been carrying you all along. Look back at your own journey. How many doors closed, only for better ones to open? How many disappointments quietly redirected you towards something you never expected? How many moments that once felt like endings became beautiful beginnings? Even when you couldn't see the path, life never stopped moving you forward. Maybe it was never working against you. Maybe it was gently guiding you home. So stop measuring your life by how little fear you feel. Measure it by how often you choose love over fear, presence over worry, trust over control. Because courage isn't living without fear. Courage is taking the next step, even while fear is still whispering. And eventually, fear becomes the whisper. Trust becomes the voice. When that day comes, you won't just have found peace. You'll realize it was within you from the very beginning. As we come to the end of this journey, take one more slow, deep breath and notice something. The person who started this video isn't quite the same person listening now. Not because you've learned something completely new, but because you've remembered something your heart has always known. That fear was never your enemy. That uncertainty is not a punishment. And that peace has never been waiting for you somewhere in the future. It has always lived quietly beneath the noise, waiting for you to return. Life will still surprise you. There will still be days when doubt returns, when plans change, when the path ahead seems unclear. That doesn't mean you've lost your way. It simply means you're human. When those moments come, don't ask yourself, how do I get rid of this fear? Instead, ask, what is this moment asking me to trust? That one question can change the direction of your life, because every challenge is an invitation. Every ending creates space for a new beginning, and every breath is another chance to begin again. So wherever you are on your journey today, be patient with yourself. You don't have to have every answer. You don't have to see the entire path. You only have to take the next step with an open heart. Remember, healing is not a destination. It's a way of living. Peace is not something you earn. It's something you practice. And trust is not believing that life will always go your way. It's knowing that whatever comes, you will grow through it. If this message spoke to your heart, I want to ask you to do one simple thing. Write one word in the comments. Trust. Not for me. Not for the algorithm. But as a quiet promise to yourself. A promise that from this moment forward, you will choose presence over panic, understanding over resistance, and courage over fear. If you know someone who has been silently carrying the weight of anxiety, share this video with them. Sometimes, a single conversation, a single idea, or a single moment of hope can become the beginning of someone's healing. And if you'd like to continue this journey with us, subscribe to the Zen Wisdom. In our next video, we'll explore why so many people feel trapped in the same patterns for years and how one simple shift in awareness can finally set the mind free. Until then, be kind to yourself. Trust your journey. Trust your heart. And remember the one truth that ties everything we've shared together. You are not carrying life. Life has been carrying you all along. So stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin living. This moment, this breath, this heartbeat is life. And perhaps the life you've been searching for has been unfolding here all along. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep choosing trust.